Marist trailed Iona by 11 with 8 minutes to go in last night's MAAC quarterfinal, but then spins it back out, still looking for room. Larrigan, open look for three, and the Marist Red Foxes with 5.3 seconds to go have taken the lead. The Red Fox rally puts them into today's semifinal round. Dave McGarrity's Poughkeepsie Pack looks for another upset today against Siena. Marist is the number 6 seed and follows the lead of its senior backcourt, Bobby Joe Hatton and Bo Larrigan. Paul Hewitt and the Saints, meanwhile, are fresh off last night's quarterfinal rout of Ryder. The multifaceted club now 23-5, used deadly three-point shooting to rope the Bronx. Jim Canamesa, Scott Knapp and company nailed 13 of 26 from long range. Siena head-to-head with Marist in our second MAAC semifinal coming up next. From the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, New York, it's our second men's semifinal of the MAAC tournament. The Marist Red Foxes, the number 6 seed, against the Siena Saints, the number 2 seed. And welcome back, everybody. Glad you could join us once again for our second semifinal. Doug Sherman along with Glenn Consor. Howard Simon will join us in just a few moments. And in case you missed the first game, great action. Let's take a look at the tournament brackets as they stand right now. The Peacocks of St. Peter's with another upset. They've beaten off both Western New York teams. They've knocked off Canisius and Niagara to reach the championship.
Well, they did a great job knocking off the 4th seed and the 1st seed. St. Peter's playing great basketball right now. And could we see another upset here? It could possibly be. No one thought Marist had the capability of beating Iona. I know Iona came into this tournament one of the hottest teams in the MAAC conference, but the thing that Marist has that a lot of teams don't have, they have battle-tested guards that are ready for anything you throw at them.
And who we're going to highlight is Bo Larrigan. We take a look at the guy who hit the game-winning three-point shot in the quarterfinals against Iona.
Well, Bo Larrigan's just a clutch shooter. He can make big plays. He can put the ball on the floor and take you off the bounce. And his backcourt partner, Bobby Joe Hatton, he's not a bad player either. They have great chemistry between the two.
Meanwhile, defensively, the Red Foxes will have to figure out a way to stop Corey Osinski, who hit 10 of his 12 field goal attempts last night in the quarterfinals for the Saints.
Well, Corey Osinski has been a difficult matchup for every team in the MAAC because he's got the low post game. He can make shots in the transition game, but his aggressiveness attacking the rim and the glass has been the difference for Siena this season.
Okay, Glenn, what do the Red Foxes have to do? What are the keys to winning? Brought to you by Citizens Communications.
Well, the question for Marist is, are they going to play the tortoise or are they going to play the hare? Because Siena wants to go up-tempo. But either way, they have to be the aggressor on the floor. And from Siena's standpoint, Siena's really going to have to do a job of taking care of the basketball and playing perimeter defense because Marist got the great guards. They're going to have to get out and guard. But the most important thing is going to be to maintain their intensity for 40 minutes with that up-tempo style of play.
Okay, let's send it over to Howard Simon. What have you got for us just before tip-off, Howard?
Guys, one thing stuck with me from Paul Hewitt last night after the game. He said tournament time is all about pressure and defense. He said their pressure now is as good as it's been all year. Marist, where are their heads at? The high last night after beating Iona. Can they get back down to earth and be ready to face Siena in this game? Back to you.
Thank you, Howard. The Red Foxes played till nearly midnight last night. Can they turn it around? The Saints love to run and gun. The MAAC semifinals on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by Marine Midland Bank for all your financial needs. The Pepsi-Cola Company. GMAC, the GM College Grad Program, and your local Pontiac dealers. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Bob Stores, great buys on brands you wear. The New York Lottery Games, hey, you never know. Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything. Mazda, get in, be moved. And by Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. Downtown Buffalo, the scene for this MAAC semifinal. We're inside the Marine Midland Arena. Doug Sherman, Glenn Consor, Howard Simon, the rest of our crew along the MAAC Television Network. Glad you could join us to find out who will meet St. Peter's tomorrow night in the MAAC championship game for the right to go on to the NCAA tournament. Here is how they will line up. First for the Red Foxes, brought to you by GMAC. Larrigan and Hatton in the backcourt. Kenny, McCurdy, and Samuels up front. Starting lineup for Siena with a record of 23-5. Marcus Faison, Melvin Freeney, Dieters, Canamesa, and Osinski. But those are not the only five we will see here today for the Saints. They go deep into the bench. And that's been a strength of the Siena's team. They really go 10 deep with guys coming off the bench.
like Dwayne Archibald, who had his career high here last night, and Scott Knapp, one of the best shooters in this conference. They have a lot of weapons from Marist standpoint. I think the key is going to be Bo Larrigan and Bobby Joe Hatton's ability for Dave McGarity to handle the pressure for 40 minutes. Siena's standpoint is, can we maintain and contain our pressure for 40 minutes? And Paul Hewitt knows that. But from Marist's standpoint, they're going to take care of the basketball, limit their turnovers, and attack Paul Hewitt's pressure.
Paul Hewitt came to Siena 2 years ago after being an assistant at Villanova, and he's turned the program around. Gene Monge, Bob Madigan, Michael Kitts, our three officials for the second of our two semifinals here this afternoon. Glad you could join us along the MAAC television network to see the Saints in their home whites against the Red Foxes in their traveling red. And these two teams split during the regular season, each winning on their home floor. Joe McCurdy, Bobby Joe Hatton trying to attack the Siena man-to-man. McCurdy misses on the pull-up. Drew Samuels gets tied up. Loose on the floor. And the whistle. Alternate possession will come back the other way to the Saints.
Ball is shot high, and McCurdy just couldn't get his hands on the ball. That Samuels just kind of lost it, couldn't reel it in, and there it goes. 4 or 5 guys hitting the deck. That's the way you want to see a game start. Guys hustling.
Siena, the regular season co-champs, along with Niagara, which just got knocked out of the tournament. Here comes Melvin Freeney to try and save. He does, but to the Red Foxes, who might get an easy 2. Bobby Joe Hatton gets the Red Foxes on the board.
Bobby Joe Hatton's so tricky. Now, Freeney saved it in the right direction towards his basket, but Bobby Joe read it like a book.
Osinski lost it on the way up. Kenny rips it away. Quickly up ahead, McCurdy. Offensive foul against the junior forward out of Mount Vernon, New York. Joe McCurdy got into early foul trouble yesterday against Iona, played only 3 minutes in the first half, and out of control there.
Freeney just kind of snuck in and drew the foul. McCurdy just kind of lost the ball and picks up the offensive charge.
Well, these are two regional rivals from eastern New York who both come west on the thruway to match heads here in Buffalo, and Osinski begins today like he began last night.
He's got such a great low post game. He's got a great feel for where the defense is when he plays with his back to the basket.
Tied at 2, 18-20 to go in the first half, just underway from the Marine Midland Arena.
This Siena Saint team, this is a team that really attacks the offensive boards, and they're one of the best. They are the #1 free throw shooting team in the nation.
Hatton travels. Well, we saw in yesterday's quarterfinal win for Siena, the game was even early, 7-6. And then the Saints went on a 15-0 run and blew out Ryder from that point on. Pretty much knew they had it in their hip pocket 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, they did it with defense and pushing the ball off the floor. Siena likes to up-tempo this game. Turnovers even early, but I got to believe with the way Siena plays defense that turnover stat is going to be a lot different in about 10 minutes.
Freeney the pull-up. Melvin Freeney, senior point guard out of Gainesville, Florida, gives the Saints a 4-2 lead.
And here comes the pressure. Nice job by Bo Larrigan. A lot of times when you play against this kind of pressure, you don't just want to attack it. You back up a couple steps and you can read it and then go at him. That's what Bobby Joe did on that segment. I'm sorry, Bo Larrigan. Bobby Joe and Bo Larrigan, very smart basketball players for Dave McGarity.
Both have a lot of international experience. Larrigan drops it off. Kenny blocked and fouled by Canamesa. Shot clock was down to 7, and Kenny will go to the line.
You know, Doug, these two teams met twice during the course of the year, and everybody's talking about how strong Siena was. Well, Marist beat him in December, and with plays like Larrigan able to penetrate, Kenny goes up strong. Looked like a clean block from behind, but Kenny goes to the line to shoot 2.
Well, that was a win for Marist that helped springboard them into national recognition. They started off 8-0, and the Red Foxes got some votes in the national rankings.
And then the NCAA cracked down on a lot of the international players. And hit Marist with a 11-game suspension for Thomas Chelabuk, who's now coming off the bench for Marist, and he is a very, very important player for Dave McGarity. Probably the best low-post player on this team.
Senior co-captain Brandon Fields coming off the bench for Siena. Misfires on his first shot attempt. Tied at 4. 3 minutes gone here at the Marine Midland Arena.
Bobby Joe Hatton and Bo Larrigan are going to have to try to dictate tempo. Siena wants to play a 94-foot game, and Marist, I got to believe, does not want to go 94 feet. They can push it up, but their tempo is going to be half-court game.
McCurdy. 6'4" Marist. 16:35 to go. Scott Knapp in the game with a basketball. Dwayne Archibald is also into the game for the Saints. And this is the freshman out of Brooklyn to Canamesa. Rebound comes to Knapp. He spots up from the head of the key and rattles it home.
Dougie's one of the best shooters in the East. Scott Knapp, if he squares, and if his shoulders are squared to the basket, it's golden.
He hit 5 out of his 7 3-point attempts yesterday. He and Archibald both came off the bench and were near perfect outside the 3-point strike. Saints with the lead, 7-6. Hatton penetrates, kicks to Kenny, who lays it in.
See, the pressure in the backcourt is not bothering Bobby Joe Hatton. He's just kind of wheeling and dealing his way down the court. Osinski's trying to turn him and put some pressure on him, and Bobby Joe's playing like he doesn't feel that pressure.
Fields is fouled by Samuels. Well, in that game at the McCann Center back early in the year when the Red Foxes beat the Saints, that was the key. They had the home court advantage, sellout crowd, and they handled the pressure. That's also the game that Melvin Freeney first suffered from the pericarditis and missed the second half.
So both of these teams have really missed key players in their system for long periods of time this year. Freeney from Siena, Chelabunk from Marist.
And Fields at the line as well, missed time with an ankle injury. Osinski goes out. Isaiah Stewart, sophomore swingman, comes in.
See, Osinski's going out of the game right now, and Paul Hewitt's going to talk to him that when he's guarding Bobby Joe in the backcourt, he's got to do a better job putting pressure on him to try to turn him, get him out of control. That's the whole key to playing the way Siena plays defense. 40 minutes of hell.
Hatton guarded by Stewart. 15:30 to go in the first half. We're tied at 8. The Red Foxes and the Saints battling to meet the Peacocks of St. Peter's tomorrow night. There again, drives in, drop it off. Kenny again taking up space and getting great position. He made the all-contour most improved team, and again we see why. Stewart answers back for the Saints. Dwayne Archibald now spearheading the defensive pressure for Siena. Broken nicely. Samuels banks it in.
Oh, I like the way Marist is attacking the pressure. Bobby Joe and Bo are going right at him, and the frontline players of Marist are shot ready under the basket, and that's been the difference this game.
Knapp pulls the trigger, short. Bobby Joe Hatton comes up with it. Blocked by Fields. Here come the Saints at breakneck speed, and the foul at midcourt goes against Larrigan. We'll take a break with a timeout on the floor. The Red Foxes on top 12-10 over Siena. We'll be back with more MAAC basketball after this. Today's Did You Know feature brought to you by Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. And no surprise that Hatton and Larrigan responsible for most of the Marist offense.
Well, both of those guys are combo guards, and they can take you off the bounce, and they're both excellent shooters. You have two guys that could really penetrate. Bo Larrigan is the shooting guard, but he can get in the lane as well, and he can dish. Kenny, good catch inside, and that's been the difference. Kenny, McCurdy, and Drew Samuels, the frontline players, have been shot ready.
Well, we haven't even mentioned Siena's leading scorer, Marcus Faison, just stepped up and drilled the three. Junior out of El Paso, Texas.
Siena will apply a whole bunch of different looks in the way of full court pressure and three-quarter court pressure. They like to play a lot of 2-2-1, a little diamond.
Tomas Chelabunk has come into the game now for Marist. Knapp the rebound off the Larrigan miss. Nice hustle by Jason Hastings to knock it out of bounds. Well, we've already had 4 ties and 4 lead changes, and we're just over 6 minutes into the game.
Bo Larrigan normally can nail that shot. And one of the things Siena does so well, you think about Siena's team being a running team, the front court players run the floor very well for Siena.
Faison can't get it to fall. Chelobach the rebound. Dale Taylor has come into the game for Siena, reserve center. Bobby Joe Hatton. Osinski the rebound.
That's not a good shot for Bobby Joe.
Osinski from 20. Rebound Hatton and a foul against Brandon Fields.
See, I think when you play Siena and you're pushing the ball up the floor, I think you have to make them play defense. If you're going to run down and just take the first shot from the point guard spot, you really fall into the Siena trap. And then you see Osinski take that long bomb. Bobby Joe Hatton does a nice job. The guard's got a rebound from Marist, and that's a nice rebound and nice get by Bobby Joe. But when you play Siena, Doug, and you come down at the point guard and you're getting into that transition game, I think you got to keep them down on defense. Work the clock a little bit. Keep them down for 35 seconds. It's not easy to stay in your defensive stance for 35 seconds.
13:15 to go first half. 13-12, Siena with a 1-point lead. Rick Smith into the game for Marist with the ball. Chelobach posting at the free throw line. Finally gets it. Shot clock under 10 as you see. Smith doesn't get the roll. Faison the rebound. Here comes Knapp. Back to Faison after the crossover. Gets the ball to trickle through the twine. 5 for Faison.
One of the things that makes Marcus Faison so dangerous in the open court is that he changes direction so well.
Here's the trap. Stripped away. Here comes Faison. Marcus Faison draws the contact and count the basket.
Now, did you see how he changed direction and actually went at Bobby Joe, who was coming from the right side of the floor, and was able to gather himself for the finish?
Well, Marcus struggled offensively yesterday, only 2 for 5 from the floor for 6 points. He's already got 7 here today, and it's coming off of the defensive pressure.
He's got the long arm. See how he just changed direction and leaned into him? And the traps really make a big difference for Siena. That time, Freeney and Faison, probably the best 2 guys on the traps on this Siena team, did a great job getting the deflection. Faison's got the long arms, and Freeney's got the quick hands.
Larrigan goes out. Sean Kennedy, freshman point guard, in for Marist. Faison has scored Siena's last 8 points, and the Saints lead by half a dozen, 18-12. Three guards out there. Rick Smith, you might remember early in the year when Bo Larrigan was injured, was in the starting lineup, got a lot of valuable minutes as a first-year player. This is Smith. Finds himself amongst the trees. Dieters the rebound. Dave Dieters yesterday may have played his most physical game ever at Siena. Played a big game against the big guys from Ryder. Canamesa to Freeney. Marist in the man-to-man. Archbold fouled on his way to the basket. Rick Smith seemed to lose his footing and grabbed a hold. We have an officials timeout with 11:50 left to go in the first half from the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo. Our second MAAC semifinal on the MAAC Television Network.
This is my business card. I'm a reporter and co-host for Adelphia. How did I get there? Well, before this, I worked on air at a local TV station. Good evening, this is Jody Johnston with a news update. I got that job thanks to an internship I did at Canisius. I guess it proves when you graduate from Canisius, a lot of good things are in the cards.
Marine Midland Bank is proud to sponsor the Marine Midland Family Section. Tickets and programs for today's game were provided by Marine Midland Bank for all of your financial needs. And let's send it over to one of the best family men in Western New York, Howard Simon.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Hey, Dave McGarity, the very first thing he said in the huddle, guys, we got to slow down. Then he talked a little bit about their concentration level and also said, hey, start using some ball fakes and get the ball inside. Well, the first words I thought were interesting. Slow down, guys. Back to you.
All right, thank you. You see the tab collars already loosened for Dave. That's the first step. Coach McGarity, by the end of the night, actually by the end of the first half probably, He'll be completely unkempt.
You know, those ball fakes that Howard just mentioned are so important. The ball fakes moves the defense, and then you can make a decision to hit open men.
Foul against Melvin Freeney. Non-shooting foul with Bobby Joe Hatton driving to the basket. First on Freeney, and he is called by Coach Hewitt the best on-ball defender on the team.
See how he reached right when he stood up? As soon as you reach and do that little karate chop move, you're going to get called for the foul.
Archibald the rebound off the Larrigan miss. Freeney, little hesitation move, strong to the hole, and he gets the roll. 20-12 Siena.
Siena's a team that pushes on made and missed baskets. You have to get back and match up, and you have to stop the guards. The other type of thing that Siena has is they have 5-6 guys in this team that can handle the ball so well off the bounce. You got to stop them outside the three-point line.
Traveling violation against Kennedy.
And this is how the pressure starts to wear you down. You get a turnover here, you get a turnover there, you lose some confidence. You have to attack the pressure like they did the first 3 or 4 minutes of this game. And right now, see how he turns his back? No one's helping him out. You got to get rid of the basketball before the double team hits you.
Freeney to Canamesa. Inside Osinski on the mismatch, missed the jump hook. Red Foxes back the other way. 10:38 to go first half. Chelobon. Rebound fumbled out of bounds by Kennedy. It'll be Siena basketball.
Not a good shot. That's exactly what Siena wants. They want you to take bad shots like that. The first shot. I think Dave McGarrity's got to get these guys back in the huddle and say, look, I want 3 or 4 passes before that ball's shot.
Saints on a 10-0 run. Into Osinski again. Over the back foul against Siena, but that's the second trip down. The Saints have gotten it deep to Osinski with Larrigan on his back, and the Saints have not converted.
Well, Siena's got the big lineup in right now, and Bo Larrigan's defending Osinski, who's posted him up, and that time he just drew the offensive foul. Actually, that was Dieters over the top. Larrigan tried to draw it, didn't get it.
I think Larrigan realized his best chance is to go for the Oscar. Didn't get the call, but the Red Foxes come away with a defensive stop. 10:14 to go first half. Kennedy this time passes over the double team.
Nice flash by Kenny.
Joe McCurdy has come back into the game for Marist. Cross court Larrigan. Drives by Freeney. Offensive foul. Dieters came over to take the charge.
I'd love to see big guys step in and take the charges. And Dave McGarrity a little frustrated. His team on an offensive lull right now, and they're rushing. And that's exactly what Siena wants you to do. They force you to rush. It looks like you might have a shot open. They kind of give you the lane, and then they close off.
Brandon Fields has replaced Dave Dieters. Scott Knapp also back into the game for the Saints. Deflection by Kenny. Up ahead to McCurdy for 2. And Kennedy picks the pocket of Knapp. Red Foxes down by 6, trying to cut it to 3. But no, Osinski the rebound. Melvin Freeney into the paint. Kenny may have gotten a piece of the shot. Osinski loses it to Sean Kennedy.
Sean Kennedy is just so proactive on defense. A spark plug last night against Iona. He came off the bench, did a great job defensively, made some big plays and big shots. He's one of these guys that loves to pick up loose balls. He's quick to loose balls, got a nose for the ball.
9 minutes left in the first half. Siena 20, Marist 14. McCurdy. Osinski the board, up ahead to Freeney. Freeney misfires. Good defense by Larrigan to hold his spot, and the Red Foxes back the other way. But again, this tempo is what Siena likes. Chelobon looks down at the three-point line and hits. "20-second timeout called by Paul Hewitt as you see him summon his players to have a chat.
Well, we talked in the open about Marist's ability to play the tortoise or the hare. And right now they're doing a nice job getting good looks by pushing the ball up the floor. So you want to push, but you want to push with patience. and you want to get good looks. You don't want to get into the helter-skelter running against Paul Hewitt's Siena team because they're just too deep.
Hey, Paul Hewitt's very familiar with Western New York. He played his college basketball in Rochester at St. John Fisher Division III program. Actually, I have some video back at the station of Paul playing some stellar defense with a little bit of an afro going.
Is that right?
Mid-'80s, yeah. It's video that he doesn't want seen, but we have it.
We all had long hair in college.
Perhaps next year we'll break it out on the MAAC television network. 2017, the Saints on top. 8:34 to go. Here in the first half. Knapp at the point. Isaiah Stewart has come back into the game. Pretty even all the way around. When you look at the statistics, Knapp from the corner. He's been badly short on his last three-point tries. 8:15 to go in the first half. McCurdy on the baseline.
Sean Kennedy makes good decisions on the floor for Marist.
Well, we saw that combination earlier in the year when Kennedy kicked it back out to McCurdy, who hit the game-winning three at the buzzer. Dieters couldn't finish, but he gets it back to Stewart. Two-point shot. No, Canamesa. And Samuels. It goes against Canamesa, who can't believe it. Good start to a semifinal game here in Buffalo. We've got a timeout on the floor. Siena by 3 on the MAAC television network. Here is a summary of this season's Chase MAAC Players of the Week. And the Player of the Year, Alvin Young of Niagara, won it the most times 3 times. Marcus Faison of Siena a couple of times, and pretty evenly distributed during the 1998-99 season. Marcus Faison, a first-team All-Star performer for the Saints.
Well, you know, Siena has made a career this year on capitalizing on turnovers, but there's the deflection. And Marist can also capitalize on turnovers as well as Larrigan, who's an excellent passer in the open court. And McCurdy really made himself an excellent target there, an excellent pass. But you really can see what deflections can do.
Let's send it over to Howard Simon.
Guys, Paul Hewitt in the huddle said, hey, fellas, the tempo is good, but he was worried a little bit about their balance on jump shots. He said, some guys, you're off balance, set up. Don't worry about firing it up right away when you catch the basketball. Drive opportunity is good, post up is good, but watch the jump shots. He said, they'll come, don't worry about it. Guys?
Thank you, Howard. Donald Vail fired up an air ball. Scott Knapp open. No. McCurdy, the big rebound. Larrigan, they've got numbers. Bobby Joe Hatton, the great spin move on the 3-on-1.
Come on. Doug, there's an old expression in basketball. Teams that run don't like to get run on. That's because they're not used to playing the transition defensive game. They're used to being the aggressor.
Back to a one-point game and another turnover. And with numbers, McCurdy can't give the Red Foxes the lead.
So many times we've seen blown opportunities because of that alley-oop play. It was a 2-on-1 fast break. Slow down a little bit. Make the simple play.
Another timeout called by Siena, 22nd timeout. And again, Paul Hewitt may like the tempo, but he's not liking the results as the lead has been cut to 1.
Bobby Joe is one of the best players in the league in the transition game, and a nice pass, the good ball movement, rotated Knapp, and look at that spin. Little Earl Monroe there on him. Take that.
Bobby Joe Hatton, the senior from Ponce, Puerto Rico, 4 points. He's the 8th leading scorer in the conference during this his senior year and was named to the 2nd team All-Star squad. 6:50 to go in the first half. Siena with the basketball, leading 20-19.
Straight man by Marist. McCurdy
foul off the ball. McCurdy up for the holding foul on the post. That's his second. Scott Knapp will inbound from the baseline. Canamesa, who's yet to take a shot, gets it stripped away by Vail. Red Foxes have really picked up the defensive pressure. There's a deflection out of bounds by Faison. It'll be Marist basketball.
The last 4 segments when Marist was playing defense, they've gotten deflections and turnovers that have led to baskets. And right now, Siena's got to do a better job taking care of the basketball. Paul Hewitt told me that this Siena team loves to run. But in order to be a championship team, you have to excel in executing a half-court offense because teams will slow you down.
Hatton guarded by Knapp. 15 seconds on the shot clock.
That's good patience there by Bo Larrigan. He had an open look. He didn't pass it up. Wanted to use the clock a little bit.
Chelobach now open from 20. Facing the rebound. Siena with a 1-point lead in the basketball.
Right now, Dave McGarity has made the defensive switch. Chelobach is now guarding Osinski. He's kind of shutting him down, Doug.
Well, they were able to get it inside to Osinski a number of times early. Corey missed a couple of close-in shots, did hit one. See the time on the shot clock remaining. Dieters dives for it and keeps it alive to face it. But his pass stolen away, another Siena turnover. And Dieters on the floor again commits the foul.
You know, the last game we talked about hustle stats. Picking up the loose ball, getting deflections, taking charges, getting offensive rebounds. Dieters did a nice job hustling there. But look at how active Marist is. There's a deflection by Hatton. He's been all over the place. Bo Larrigan picks it up and just kind of gets hit from behind. But right now it seems like Marist is winning in the hustle stat category. Paul Hewitt is not going to be happy with that stat because that's the way Siena plays.
Osinski on the bench. Archbold back in for Siena. 5:15 to go in the first half. 20-19. Siena holding on to a 1-point lead. Chelobach, after recovering off a bad pass, dribbled it off his foot. So back over to the Saints. We've been stuck on 20-19 for a couple of minutes now. Turnovers are even, 6 apiece. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Faison's pass stolen away by the help man once again, Samuels. Siena's having a lot of trouble getting into its half-court offense. Larrigan to Hatton. Into Samuels, double team, pass off the hands, and out of bounds of Vail.
It's a good thought that time by Samuels, except he just rushed it just a little bit. A little bounce pass might have been more effective on that segment. Really a lull in offensive execution by Siena, and they can't get into their transition game, Doug. We saw a game, the last game we saw at Niagara was a team that likes to up-tempo as well. And they got knocked off from St. Peter's because they couldn't get into their transition game as well. And everybody was expecting to see Niagara in that championship game. But I really believe that this is a team that's going to be invited to the NIT. They're 17-12 in a very strong conference. There you see a little push from behind. But I think Joe Mihalik has a lot to be proud of. I think the Niagara team does as well. They're the leading scorer in the country. They've had some strong non-conference wins. And they ended up on top of the MAAC conference this year, which I believe was probably the #1 mid-major conference in the nation this year.
Well, they certainly have a lot of good arguments to get into that postseason tournament.
Coupled with the fact that you have the #1 scorer in the nation and one of the most exciting players in Alvin Young. Seems like a natural for an NIT invite.
Dieters knocks them both down. His first 2 points of the game. Siena 22, Marist 19. Chelobach lost it, gets it back. And the Red Foxes set up with 4:10 to go in the half.
They went to a 2-2-1 now. They're falling back to straight man.
Hatton forced it up. Here comes Marcus Faison with Kennedy riding it. Stripped out of bounds and a foul against Kennedy.
Kennedy just bothers you on defense. He's an excellent defensive player in stopping the break. He did a great job again in kind of jabbing at Faison, stepping back, jabbing at him again. Stopped the play, picked up the foul, but he did a nice job of stopping one of the top transition guys and finishers in the MAAC conference, Marcus Faison.
6'5", 190-pound junior, played his high school ball in El Paso, Texas, but his family and calls home now in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And he's got 9 points. One of the fine scores in Siena College history, over 1,000 points this year as a junior. 1 out of 2 from the line. 4-point Siena lead, 3:55 to go here in the first half. Red Foxes have gone 3.5 minutes now without a field goal. Stuck on that 19-point mark. Hatton into the corner. Larrigan. Bounce inside. Great look for Chelobon.
Siena does not want to have Chelobon get going offensively. He moves well without the ball. He can make that mid-range shot, and he can shoot threes.
Freeney hits the three. He's a 50% three-point shooter, very unheralded.
Doesn't take that many, but when he takes them, he's accurate.
That's 7 for Freeney, and it gives the Saints a 5-point lead. We'll take a break from the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo. You're watching the MAAC Television Network.
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. This success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a changing world.
Here's a summary of this season's Chase MAAC Rookies of the Week. And Jermaine Clark, who wound up winning the '99 Rookie of the Year award, had more than twice as many as his nearest competitors, Archibald, Walker, and Wilson. Meanwhile, a former member of the rookie squad 4 years ago, Melvin Freeney, doing good things for the Saints.
Well, Dave McGarity has to make sure that his team gets back in the transition game to stop guys like Freeney outside the three-point line.
Toss it over to Howard Simon right now.
Guys, Dave McGarity was stressing about getting through screens. Very unhappy with his team's inability to fight through screens, that they got to be strong and get through that and make some plays. And now I know why McGarity has a towel near him the whole game long. He has got beads of sweat just dripping off his face in that huddle. Guys?
Thank you, Howard. Between Tim O'Toole at Fairfield and Dave McGarity at Marist, they lead the league in perspiration. Kennedy fires it up as the horn blows for the shot clock. He went to his offhand for 2.
How do you measure that?
I don't want to be the one to measure it, even if there's a system. Out of bounds off the Red Foxes' Chelobon. It'll be Siena ball. It's been a tough start to the game for Corey Osinski.
Here's Dave McGarity, Paul Hewitt. He's a cool, calm, collected customer.
2:25 to go in the first half. Freeney guarded by Hatton. Dieters spots up, and he connects. Junior center from Elk Grove, Illinois, with 4 points.
That's what Dieters can do. He's 7 feet. He can make that 12, 13-foot shot out by the elbow, and he brings away the defense from the backboards, allowing for the Siena team to offensive rebound. You got a 7-footer that can shoot like that.
Under 2 minutes remaining in the half. Larrigan guarded by Osinski. Kick it back to Hatton. Nice up fake. Fouled. Archibald blocked it, but it looks like Freeney got him on the body.
Siena foul, number 14, Melvin Freeney is second.
Second on Freeney.
There was a period of time this year when Bo Larrigan went down with an injury, and so much was on the shoulders of Bobby Joe Hatton, and he really shined during that period. He's got the ability to get in the lane. He's got the quick first step. And this year, he's really been able to control his emotions. He's been cool and calm. We've seen in the years past where he has had a tendency to lose it sometimes, pick up technical fouls. It's affected his game, and I think he's really matured a lot this season.
Freeney goes out with those 2 fouls, along with 7 points. Scott Knapp back into the game to run the point.
Hatton's assists have come up this year, and that's made him a better player because he becomes more dangerous because he can dish.
Siena 28, Marist 23. Relatively low-scoring half of basketball for these two clubs. 1:35 to go before the break. Archibald penetrates and pulls up. Fields the rebound. Knapp open from 20. Nothing but net. Scott Knapp with 6. And Siena's lead is up to 8.
Well, you can really tell he was the son of a coach the way he shoots. He's got great mechanics and great rhythm to his shot. Shoots it the same way every time.
His dad, Al Knapp, the head coach still at Vernon Verona Sherrill High School outside of Utica, New York. A minute to go in the half. Chelobon. That's a tough shot. Kind of in between.
Shot. Yep. You always hope to get that little angle to use the glass, but a lot of times you can't. You got to throw it high.
Chelobon's got 7. It's a 6-point Siena lead. Osinski off the mark, and Tom Kenny with the rebound. Red Foxes can hold for a final shot, and that's what Dave McGarity is thinking about, a 20-second timeout to set it up.
Good timeout by Dave McGarity. Obviously an important possession with 29 seconds left. And now it gives him time to design a play, and I got to believe that they're going to try to open it up for the penetration of Bobby Joe. Sean Kennedy now checking in the game. Gives him another option. Kennedy could stick it from the outside and can penetrate and get in. I've been very impressed with the tempo that Marist has dictated this game. They're keeping the game down low. Siena likes to play in the 90s. Obviously, we're getting up on halftime. Only in the 30s, Doug. Low 30s. 31 points Siena scored.
Kind of similar to our first semifinal, where Niagara held the lead for the most part of the first half, but it was kind of a St. Peter's tempo. The Peacocks hung around and wound up pulling it out in the final minutes. St. Peter's winning that first semi 78-70. They'll meet the winner of this one tomorrow night for the title. Dale Taylor has come in for Siena. And as you mentioned, Kennedy has come back in for Marist. 20 seconds left in the half. You see the time remaining in the lower right-hand corner of your screen.
Marist likes to set screens for Hatton on the penetration. Little pick and rolls. Watch him set those high screens. There it is. Nice hedge out by Brandon Fields.
Cross court to Larrigan. He hits the 3 with 3 seconds to go. Knapp fires at the horn, but the Red Foxes with a mini run right before the break. Another big 3-pointer by that man, Bo Larrigan. It's a 3-point Siena lead at the intermission. Siena 31, Marist 28. We'll be back with our halftime action in Buffalo. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. See, Glenn, we're not the only two guys in the building wearing makeup.
Looks like they ate something bad.
A couple of the fans from Siena. Their Saints lead at the half, 31-28. Made the trip from Albany. Maybe that's what happens when you drive on the thruway too much.
Looks like they have something to be concerned about as well.
Well, the Niagara Purple Eagles, as mentioned, knocked out in the earlier semifinal. Their final record now 17-12. But as you talked about, Glenn, will they get an NIT invitation? They certainly have a lot of strengths as the regular season champs. They were the top seed in the tournament. And Alvin Young, clearly one of the most exciting players in the country, leading scorer in the NCAA. Will the Purple Eagles go further? Is their season over? Will they go on? Well, standing by right now, we've got the head coach of the Purple Eagles with Howard Simon.
Yeah, guys, not surprisingly, the man standing next to me thinks yes. Joe Mahalik is the head coach of the Purple Eagles, and you talked about it in your post-game comments after the game earlier today and stated your case, and you think you got a strong case to state?
Well, Howard, I think we're the very definition of what the NIT is all about. We'd be very proud to be a part of the NIT. I think we define what the intention of the tournament. We're the #1 seed in our conference. We're the 12th rated conference in the NCAA, and we won it. We were #1 all throughout the year. I think that's a very deserving honor. We have the #1 scorer in the country, and he's a Bishop Loughlin, New York City guy who's real exciting. We're real proud of the exciting style of basketball we play. We tied a conference record with 119 points in one game this year, and we have a great bunch of guys who, as I said, would be very proud to be in the NIT.
How much do you think it helps, Joe, that one, the Niagara roots and history, and number 2, that you've gotten downstate into the New York City area where Alvin Young is from, and you've showed them the style of basketball that Alvin and the Purple Eagles have played this season?
Well, I think that's really important. I think that's an attraction. It should be an attraction to the NIT. I think the NIT is looking for who could end up in New York City, and what a story it would be if we ended up in New York City with Alvin Young from New York City, as I said, a #1 scorer in the country, with our style of play, the fact that we represent the MAAC. What a great story that would be. I mean, it's just Alvin Young's got to play another game. They just can't let him go without playing some more games.
I'm sure you don't mind coaching another game.
Yeah, I'd be proud. It would be an honor to be in the NIT.
All right, Joe, good luck.
Thank you.
Joe Mahalik joining us. Niagara hoping for an NIT bid. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Howard. Actually, we'll find out a week from today when the NIT bids come out. We're at the half. Siena with a 3-point lead on the MAAC television network.
St. Peter's College, the Jesuit College of New Jersey. For more than 125 years, St. Peter's College has offered students from all economic, cultural, and social backgrounds an unsurpassed education in liberal arts, business, education, the sciences, and more, including championship athletic programs that stress academic excellence. St. Peter's College, diverse, international, Catholic, Jesuit, with campuses in Jersey City and Englewood Cliffs. St. Peter's College, the Jesuit College of New Jersey.
Back in Buffalo at the Marine Midland Arena, Siena leading at the half over Marist, 31-28. The winner of this men's semifinal goes on to the championship game against St. Peter's tomorrow night. At this time, we'd like to send it over to Sandy Diamond, who's standing by with a special guest.
Thanks, guys. It's nice to have the opportunity to speak with Brad McAreevy, the area manager for GMAC. And Brad, GMAC's been a sponsor now for the past 2 years of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. What kind of platform does that afford you folks?
Well, Sandy, GMAC's Northeast Regional Office is located in the same area as the MAAC. Obviously, college students represent an important market to both General Motors and GMAC, and we feel it's important to encourage academic integrity and athletic excellence among the conference.
I know that General Motors and GMAC are trying to target the collegiate audience. Why is that, Brad?
Well, Sandy, GMAC views college athletics as a family-oriented event. GMAC wants to introduce these students and their families to the family of GMAC services. We also feel it's important for us to demonstrate the affordability and the ease and quickness in which we can finance college students.
Talk about the affordability of your program and what GM vehicles are covered.
GMAC offers the College Graduate Finance Plan, Sandy, which is a $400 discount toward the purchase or lease of a new GM vehicle. We feel that this program is very beneficial to students. In many cases, this is their first purchase of a new vehicle. GMAC in 1998 alone financed over 5,600 college graduates under this program. The divisions that participate in this program include Chevrolet, Pontiac, GMC Truck, and Oldsmobile.
I know Pontiac has enhanced their involvement this year with the program. Why is that?
Pontiac Motor Division has some excellent vehicles that appeal to this particular segment, and it's a great opportunity for them to develop a relationship with these students now and going forward.
Brad, how can people find out, specifically students, find out more about your program?
Very easy, Sandy. They can call 1-800-964-GRAD, or they can contact our website at www.gmgrad.com.
Brad, we appreciate you taking the time, and most importantly, I know everyone on behalf of the MAAC really appreciates the loyal support of GMAC. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for your support.
You're very welcome.
Guys, let's send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Sandy, and thank you, Brad, and thank you again for your continued support from GMAC. We are at the half, a 3-point Siena lead on the MAAC television network.
What are those stories?
That about people. Let's try an interval of about 15 milliseconds, because that's half of what the piece is.
The aspects of the retreat, like you talked about friendship.
Also about what that knowledge means for the human spirit. I know that students are concerned about it.
Back in Buffalo, 31-28, Siena leading Marist at the half of our second men's semifinal here in the MAAC tournament. And welcome back, everybody. Doug Sherman along with Glenn Consor. And Siena's pressure defense generally is what dictates tempo, and that's what they're trying to do. And as we take a look at our first half highlights, we see that at times it worked, where the half-court trap comes and you get some easy points.
Yeah, we saw a couple of baskets off of turnovers. There's the trap out top. This is Siena basketball right here. Getting deflections, finishing, getting fouled. Marcus Faison might be the best player in the league in transition. And this is off of a turnover as well. McCurdy really finishing strong. But we saw Marist really attack the ball and attack the glass. Bobby Johatton's spectacular move in transition. But really, Siena has stayed in this game with three-point shooting, hitting the offensive boards, and Knapp really able to finish.
And we take a look at our first half statistics. And even though it doesn't show up here, Siena's starting forwards, Canamesa and Osinski, have combined for all of 2 points.
They look at the second chance points by Siena, but this is somewhat of a role reversal this game. Marist has dictated tempo. They have 8 steals versus Siena's 1 steal. Who would have thought that coming into this game at halftime? And dictating the tempo of this game has really been, I think, in the direction of Marist.
Those stats brought to you by Citizens Communications. When we come back, we'll have the start of the second half between the Saints and the Red Foxes on the MAAC Television Network. Just about to begin the second half of our MAAC semifinal between Marist and Siena. The Saints on top 31-28. And it gives us time to let you know about the inaugural MAAC Hockey League Championship hitting the ice March 19th and 20th at Holy Cross. All session passes are affordably priced at $10. For more information, call 508-793-2573. And underway, the Red Foxes with the basketball first. Drew Samuels off the mark. Dave Dieters after the rebound, and Melvin Freeney comes up with it, taken away by Larrigan. Kenny. Freeney the rebound. Freeney facing Osinski, Dieters, and Canamesa, same starting 5 for Siena. Block shot by Hatton. Here comes the pass to Hatton. To McCurdy. It's a 1-point game. Kind of looks like the first half, Glenn.
Certainly does. Sloppy play early from both teams, and finally Marist breaking the ice, getting it up and down the court. Boy, they're getting up and down quick.
Facing the leading scorer in the game with 11 points. Off the nice move inside. 1 minute gone here in the second half. Siena on top by 3. Past the baseline, goes all the way through the cheerleaders. Bobby Joe Hatton had a little bit too much mustard on it. And it goes back over to the Saints.
Little out of control on that play. Would have been a better decision just to stop right by the elbow, shoot the little jump shot.
Well, the Red Foxes starting backcourt is combined for only 7 points so far in the ball game. And Larrigan was scoreless until he hit that 3-pointer right before the end of the first half. Melvin Freeney guarded by Tom Kenny.
Doug Cantamesa is going to need to get involved into the offense a little bit more than he has. He's going to need some shots and looks.
With the shot clock winding down, Faison chucked it up, but came up short.
I think he's been the missing component for Siena offensively.
He took only 1 shot in the first half in 9 minutes of play.
He's a fabulous shooter at 6'8". He's just not getting any touches.
Scored a career-high 33 points earlier this year in a win against George Washington. That just won the Western Division title in the Atlanta 10 Conference. Fouled before the shot, 3rd against Canamesa. Faison now with 11 points as you take a look at those leaders. Dieters goes out, Brandon Fields comes in. Canamesa stays in the game despite picking up his 3rd.
Keep your eye on Bobby Joe Hatton, likes to go around screens. They will run Bo Larrigan baseline around screens. And I got to tell you, they've been effective getting the ball inside to McCurdy, Samuels, and Kenny. They just got to finish a little better. They're getting good looks.
Speaking of good looks, Marcus Faison up to 14 points. Wide open from 20 feet away, and he's given Siena a 6-point lead. 17:30 left to go here in the second half. Drew Samuels double teamed on the sideline, brings it back out to Bobby Joe Hatton.
Against this kind of pressure, it's so important to reverse the basketball. Ball movement creates openings against pressure.
McCurdy looked like Faison got a piece of the ball and maybe some of the wrist. Here come the Saints. Freeney gives to Osinski, but a traveling violation. It's been that kind of game for Corey Osinski.
Faison's ability to extend the defense and make 3-point shots just shows how many different weapons from 3 Siena has. Faison, Freeney, Knapp, and Cantamesa are all excellent 3-point shooters. Lots of weapons.
Faison on the bench. He is the leading scorer in the game with 14 points. Siena 36, Marist 30. 3 minutes gone here in the second half. Wayne Archibald into the game, so is Scott Knapp.
Little 3-2 zone. Some man-to-man principles out top on the perimeter.
Kenny in the corner, back out front. Swing it to McCurdy. Drew Samuels is working on the low post as Larrigan chucks it up. Knapp tips to Archibald. Melfrini left alone. Knapp tips to Fields. That's consecutive rebounds that Scott Knapp has gotten a hand on. And it's been a positive for the Saints.
Well, Marist just did not match up in the transition game. 3 or 4 guys were wide open for Marist, and also they didn't box out on the offensive rebound.
38-30 Siena. The Saints led pretty much the entire first half. Steal by Brandon Fields. Samuels left his feet and had nowhere to go. 4 minutes into the second half. Knapp underneath Osinski. Got the shot off, wanted a foul, but didn't get it. Here come the Red Foxes back the other way. Offensive foul called against McCurdy. Third on McCurdy. Brandon Fields stepped in and took that charge. Officials timeout from the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo. Siena leads by 8 on the MAAC Television Network. The Siena Saints on top of the Marist Red Foxes early stages of the second half. You can find out more about MAAC basketball by going online and checking out the conference website at www.maac.org. It's updated regularly and provides current information about your favorite MAAC teams and players. Paul Hewitt, Siena Saints with that 8-point cushion. Also, while you're surfing the net, go to MazdaUSA.com to find out the latest on Mazda cars and trucks. Peters inside, Archibald posting, and Rick Smith commits the personal.
Siena has some bookend type players. Marcus Faison and Dwayne Archibald, only a freshman, are very similar players. They can post you up. They got the quick moves inside. Smith is being posted up. Smith's only 6'2", Archibald 6'5". Good call by Paul Hewitt going right down to Dwayne, who had a big game yesterday as Siena knocked off Ryder.
More specifically, he had a career-high 22 points against the Bronx, including 6 for 7 on three-pointers, and that is an all-time Siena postseason record.
It really shows the versatility of this young man. If he can make three-point shots, can post you up, he's great on the press. He's got the long arms.
His first 2 points here tonight, and that's a 9-0 Siena run. The Saints on top by 10. The Red Foxes, meanwhile, 1 for 6 from the floor here in the second half. Kenny lays it in and snaps the Siena run.
Marist did a better job of matching up and getting back that time. Communication is so important in the transition defense. Knowing who's guarding who, matching up against the shooters outside the three-point line, getting back, taking guys out of their cuts.
5 minutes and 10 seconds gone here in the second. Knapp with a quick release. Fields the offensive rebound. Back to Knapp. Better set that time. And Scott Knapp has 9 points.
Oh, he's not going to miss twice in open looks. That's a given.
Last year's Citizens Communications long distance shooter of the year. 43-32, biggest lead of the game for Siena. Smith guarded by Archibald, back out to Hatton. Still waiting for that Marist backcourt to get the offense going. Both scoreless again here in the second half after a slow first half. Chelabonk gets his own miss, tries again. Freeney the rebound. Dribbles up through traffic, into the paint. Nice block shot by Hatton. It goes out of bounds. Siena basketball.
Scott Knapp brings so much to the table, Doug, because he extends the defense out. You got to go out and guard him. Hatton did a great job, but he's got to be able to recover and rotate now. He gets kind of screened off there, and wide open look by Knapp like that, it's over. Look at the defense by Bobby Joe Hatton that time. Clean, right on the ball. Freeney tried to draw it with the body a little bit, but it was a good no call.
13:47 to go here in the second half.
I had to say that Bob Madigan was standing right in front of us.
And again, if you're not familiar, Bob Madigan's what, 6'5", 230?
230, yep.
Even though we don't have rosters for the officials, that's our guesstimate. Mike Kitts on the other side of the court makes the call against Corey Osinski, who picks up his first. Marcus Faison coming back in, and Osinski trying to cheat out and help.
So that's called a hedge when the opposing player, the player that's defending the screen, steps out. And Osinski just kind of wrote him out. You got to play defense with your legs, but you can't bump with your legs.
So assistant coach Cliff Warren talking to Melvin Freeney, who just went out of the game. Smith the pull-up. Rick Smith, his first field goal of the game, freshman out of Maryland. 43-34, 13:10 to go.
A lot of strong freshmen in this conference from Maryland. So Darrell Green from Niagara last game, and Rick Smith, very similar type guard for Marist, also from Pilati High School in Maryland.
Kenny blocked Dieters. And Canisius has traditionally had a couple of players. Kevin Worley from down that way. I believe Keith Glamkin as well.
Yep.
Down in that area.
DC area, absolutely. Osinski's all over the place. Constantly hustling and diving on loose balls.
Red Foxes with the basketball, trailing 43-34. Larrigan, deep penetration. Kenny the layup. Thomas Kenny, when he's gotten the ball down low, has been very efficient here today.
And look how much confidence Thomas Kenny is playing with right now. He made my most improved team this year for all MAAC. Good penetration, the draw and kick. Osinski could not recover. The weak side defense not there, and Kenny's doing a great job of catching the little short passes this game.
Jim Canamesa back in for Siena. Kenny averages 10 points a game, over 6 rebounds a game, and he's got 11 to lead all Marist scorers. 43-37, 12:44 to go. Knapp guarded by Chelobon. Gets a screen from Dave Dieters. Isaiah Stewart back into the game. Here's Knapp. Hard for one of the big guys to keep up through all those screens on the perimeter. Finally, Knapp was open.
Well, the screens are causing little on big, and the big guys can't go out and recover. And Knapp just nailed it. Kenny's got to get his hands up, though, on the shooters.
That's a dozen for Knapp. Faison is the leading scorer in the game with 14. Siena on top by 9.
Siena falling back into a 2-1-2. Actually, now it's a 1-3-1. They shifted a little bit. You have Isaiah Stewart running the baseline on defense. There he is.
Shot clock down to 5. Kenny has it knocked away. Stewart has it. It's a breakaway. Isaiah Stewart gives Siena an 11-point lead.
They're just so scrappy. And we talked about the hustle stats, picking up loose balls, capitalizing on those turnovers. Here comes Siena.
Bo Larrigan bottled up, and a quick timeout called by the senior. He knew it didn't look good, and they'll talk it over in the Red Foxes huddle. It's a 20-second timeout. (48-37) back in Buffalo. Saints over the Red Foxes. Back in Buffalo, 11-11 to go in the second. Red Foxes. Bad shot by Hatton, missed everything except the backboard. Just clanked it up there. Knapp, Canamesa, Stewart, Dieters, and Archibald on the floor for Siena. Smith, Larrigan, Hastings, Chelobonk, and Hatton out there for Marist. Chelobonk, always active underneath the basket, comes up with it. Bo Larrigan misfired. Canamesa scrapping after it. Chelobonk's after it. And a jump ball.
It becomes dangerous for Marist when Bo Larrigan misses those wide open shots. If he starts making those shots, that will extend the defense out, and that's where Bobby Joe goes to work and penetrates in. Bo Larrigan had so much time on that shot. He could have had a cup of coffee, scratched his head. The defense didn't go out. A lot of guys shoot better with a little bit of pressure on him. Bo Larrigan missed that shot. There's the loose ball, and there's the scramble. Chelabunk ties up Canamesa. And Dave McGarity right now, he's got to talk to his team about attacking the zone, going at Marist, and Bobby Joe is going to have to get in the lane a little bit. If Bo Larrigan's not making those shots, they got to go inside to Kenny right away on quick hits.
GMAC salutes John LaSorsa as the GMAC Pontiac Dealer of the Game. LaSorsa Buick Pontiac Chevrolet is the place to find great deals on a variety of Pontiac vehicles that qualified customers can finance or smart lease with GMAC. LaSorsa is located at 3510 Webster Avenue in the Bronx. If you can't stop by, give them a call at area code 718-654-7200. Or for more information on other great GM offers, call GMAC at 1-800-32-SMART. Hundreds, if not thousands, of fans came from Albany for this weekend of MAAC basketball in Buffalo. Trying to see if their Saints can make it to the MAAC championship game for the second year in a row. Last year they lost to Iona in the title game. But Iona won't be there waiting if the Saints get there. It's the St. Peter's Peacocks who upset and knocked out the top seed, Niagara, earlier this afternoon. That score was 78-70, so Roger Blynn's club waiting for the winner of this one.
And in that game, we saw St. Peter's really turn up the screws defensively in the second half, and that's what we're going to need to see Marist do in order to get back in this game. Get some opportunities off their half-court defense, put more pressure out top. You can't just trade baskets with Siena because you're going to end up with the small stick. And right now, what's happening is Siena is showing some patience on offense and forcing Marist to stay down in the defensive stance. They're trying to push the ball down inside. Guys like Faison can post you up, Cantor Mesa can post you up, and Brandon Fields.
Vale committed the foul, non-shooting foul. So Freeney inbounds to Brandon Fields, who missed the dunk. Archibald, though, takes it back. Left alone, his toes were on the line. It was a two-point try, and there's Faison picking it up.
Look how quick Siena is to the offensive boards, picking up the long rebounds. Guys like Faison and Archibald, we talked about the bookend small forwards. That's Faison and Archibald. Look very similar, very long and thin and lean and quick.
Sean Kennedy whistled for the foul underneath. Again on the post-up, Kennedy 6'1", 6'2", Faison 6'5", and it's a tough matchup for the Red Foxes. Another non-shooting foul, so Freeney will inbound. To Archibald, who lays it in. The Red Foxes weren't ready. Bobby Joe Hatton had his back to everybody, and that's the easiest 2 points you'll ever see. Rick Smith drops it off for Hastings, blocked by Archibald, but fouled as well.
On that segment before, when Hatton turned his back, no one was ready from Marist's standpoint on defense. Smith's done a nice job for Marist, really attacking the pressure, and Archibald rotated a little bit too late, hits him on the arm. Look at this. No one defending Archibald. Missed assignment. That's communication. You have to talk on defense. When the ball is being thrown in, you have to know and talk to each other who's got who. No one had Archibald on that segment.
Hatton goes out, Larrigan goes in.
And those are the kind of plays that give coaches ulcers.
Hastings 0 for 2 on the line. Cantor Mesa muscles away the rebound. Archibald in the corner. Faison posting on Larrigan, lost it out of bounds. Marist was the last to touch, so it'll be Siena ball. 9:29 to go in the second. Siena 50, Marist 37. This is the biggest lead of the game.
And there's the matchup as Faison trying to post up Larrigan. Larrigan gets the deflection out of bounds.
Shot clock at 15. Archibald has it stripped by Kennedy. Red Fox is trying to come up with it. Vale passes off, and Smith missed the layup. Back the other way come the Saints. They've got numbers. Freeney to Faison, and he goes up and pulls it down.
I get a timeout if I'm Dave McGarity right now. I just call it just to slow down the momentum a little bit. A monster dunk. You really see the hops now in Marcus Faison's game. Come on. Dave McGarity looks like he was playing defense on Faison on that play. Igniting the fans.
Timeout on the floor. Siena's opened up a 15-point lead with 9 minutes left in regulation. Marcus Faison with the slam on the MAAC television network. We're back in Buffalo. Semifinal action of the MAAC tournament. Siena against Marist, and the Saints have opened up a 52-37 lead, the biggest of the game. Fans, be a part of the 2000 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship as the MAAC, Canisius College, and Niagara University host the East Region first and second round games right here at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo next year on March 17th and 19th. For ticket application information, call 716-819-NCAA.
Doug, great point guards really know who to pass the ball to on the break. We saw Marcus Faison come in and do just a monster slam, and he had actually Archibald on one side and Faison on the other. Who's the finisher? It's Faison.
You can't go wrong, though, either way. Like you say, they're bookends. Running the break. Kennedy open from the side, and he hits. Sean Kennedy, freshman from Northport, New York, went to St. Dominic's. He's got 5 points. 52-40, Siena. Canamesa posting. There's Kennedy again coming in for the strip.
You know, we talk about players that have great feel for the offensive game. Kennedy's got a great feel for playing defense.
Vail the reverse. Out of the timeout, the Red Foxes have snapped the 9-0 Siena run with a run of their own. Back to a 10-point game. Archibald missed the layup. Kenny fouled by Faison.
You take a look at this play, and there's the steal inside. Vail picks it up in the transition game. Now still attacking. And they're really doing a nice job scraping and scrapping. And there's the break. He had one guy on one side, Faison on the other. He gave it to the guy who knows how to finish.
You know, that's the same end Jamar Dunmore had his 2 monster slams yesterday for Iona.
It's that same wing spot.
Same wing. Hey, let's send it back over to Howard.
With the lead going up to 15, you'd think maybe there'd be a little screaming in the huddle, but Dave McGarity was rather calm. He went the other way, said, hey, there's a lot of time left. You guys came from behind last night, and you know you can beat Siena. Don't play scared on offense. Go out and hit some shots, and you'll be fine, and it's paid off in this stretch.
Well, that's what they're doing right now, Howard. Kenny with the jump hook. He's got 13, and it's back down to 8. And here comes McCurdy. Strong to the hole. Missed it. Archibald. After the loose ball, Osinski gets it. Up to Scott Knapp.
See how all of a sudden the tempo has changed in the second half. This is Siena basketball right now. Up and down, getting some dunks, hitting some three-point shots.
Paul Hewitt wants a Siena timeout, a 22nd timeout with 7:02 left on the clock. The Saints with a record of 23-5, and clearly they've already qualified for the NIT if they aren't able to make it into the NCAA. But still, the talk is if Siena makes it to the finals tomorrow and loses to what is St. Peter's now waiting for them, the Saints would be 24-6. Is that good enough for an at-large NCAA bid? A lot of people think yes around here.
Oh, I think it is. When you take a look at Siena's schedule, I mean, this is a team that at one time was 22-2. They've had some very, very strong non-conference wins, 9-0 in non-conference play. I really believe that they deserve, especially with conferences like the Big East and the ACC. Usually those conferences get 5 or 6 in. This year, I don't think it's going to happen.
7 minutes to go in regulation. Underneath to Osinski. Gets it blocked. Kenny outlet. Out of bounds. Tried to find Larrigan. It's been a rough game for Osinski, who gets a big hug from Marcus Faison, the 2 leading scorers for the Saints during the year. And it's been this kind of night for Osinski.
Boy, Kenny's been active offensively and defensively. Great timing on that play. Trying to get some space as he threw his shoulder. It just didn't happen for Osinski, and they just tossed it back.
Again, the starting forwards for Siena have just 2 points combined. Canamesa's scoreless. Osinski has just 2, and here come the Red Foxes. 6.5 to play. Marist down 52-44 with the basketball. Vale working on Dieters. Rebound, Canamesa lost it. Out of bounds. Took his eye off it, perhaps. Looking to get up court.
Dave McGarity right now knows his team is scraping and scrapping. They're going to have to do a better job taking care of the basketball and trying to slow the tempo down a little bit. Run the clock a little bit. Be careful of those traps out top.
Whistle and a foul against Scott Knapp. And it'll be a 1-and-1 for Sean Kennedy. And Isaiah Stewart comes in for Osinski. Kind of expect Bobby Joe Hatton to be getting back into the ball game sometime soon. Red Foxes down by 8, but a chance to cut into that lead with no time going off the clock. Kennedy, a 76% foul shooter.
Got to give a lot of credit to Dave McGarity and Marist. They really hung around against Iona. They could have easily tossed in the towel last night. Iona, a very strong team, but they just fight, scrape, and scrap. Trademark. The trademark for Marist this season.
And in this tournament, Kenny's up to 15 points. Knapp misfires. Kennedy the rebound. Last year, he was a first-team All-New York State selection as a senior in high school. And he is the future backcourt for the Red Foxes.
You got Faison on Kennedy now, just trying to bother him. Look how long Faison is. He puts his arm out. He's covering basically the whole court. Great wing expansion and extension. That's not good spacing. Not good spacing getting inside to Kenny.
Shot clock winding down. McCurdy forces. Dieters the rebound. Bodies flying everywhere. Here come the Saints the other way. Knapp gives to Canamesa for his first open look at the second half, and he missed it badly. Red Foxes pushing the tempo. Nice look to McCurdy. He had trouble gathering, but did lay it in.
And here comes Marist. Do unto others as they do unto you. Pushing the action. No one matching up from Siena inside. And some easy baskets coming now from Marist.
And it's back to a three-point game. The Red Foxes on a roll. It's Siena 52, Marist 49. Timeout with 4:44 to go on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by Marine Midland Bank for all your financial needs. The Pepsi-Cola Company. GMAC, the GM College Grad Program, and your local Pontiac dealers. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Bob Stores, great buys on brands you wear. The New York Lottery Games, hey, you never know. Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything. Mazda, get in, be moved. And by Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. We're back in Buffalo at the Marine Midland Arena. MAAC semifinals, we send it over to Howard.
Guys, Paul Hewitt's first words, they made their run, so what? Now it's time to make ours. Do a better job setting screens, reverse the ball on offense and look to post up. His last words, it's all going on the other end, though. Loose balls and rebounds on defense, it's got to be done.
That's a good point, Howard. I'll tell you so what, though. This is an identical game from Iona last night. They just hung around and just made big shots at big times of the game.
Foul off the ball against Chelobonk, and Siena had a 52-37 lead with 9:09 to go. In the Iona game, the Gales led last night by 11 with 8:08 to go. The Red Foxes, Dave McGarity's club, whittled away, pulled it out.
And they really do it with defense. I think that was the difference in how they came back against Iona. Larrigan made some big threes. Bobby Joe made some good decisions with the basketball. And Kennedy was a spark plug clearly the last 3 minutes of that game defensively, and he's the one that really drew that technical foul.
Faison driving to the hole. Rebound Canamesa, can't put it back. Traveling violation. The Red Foxes get it back on a 12-0 run. And Bobby Joe Hatton has returned to the game. A three-guard offense. Kennedy, Hatton, Larrigan with Chelobon and Donald Vale.
Siena now falling back. Straight man.
4 minutes left in regulation. It's a three-point game. Vale makes it a one-point game. Donald Vale, sophomore from the Bronx.
Deja vu.
Foul against Bobby Joe Hatton on Melvin Freeney's drive to the basket. Non-shooting foul. Second on Hatton and the sixth.
Just a power move, Doug, inside. Just a power move. Got show the inside the defense, able to finish. No help side defense. The guards didn't come in and dig it out.
Osinski replaces Canamesa. Freeney the trigger man. 3:49 left to go in the second half. Siena by a point. Chelobon tips the pass, but it comes to Osinski. Whistling a foul off the ball against Kennedy, trying to keep Stewart from flashing to the ball. This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC properties. And fans, during halftime, GMAC, the GM College Grad Program, and your local Pontiac dealers are proud to sponsor the GMAC Shootout. Grads, now is the time to reward yourself. See your participating dealers for details or visit their website at gmgrad.com. Faison hits the first. He'll get the bonus. That's 17 points for Marcus Faison to lead all scorers.
What a factor he's been this game, especially with his defense and his outside shooting. Such a presence on the floor, and the style of play just lends to Marcus Faison's abilities on the floor. Kenny's had a great game, Doug. Making big rebounds. Power game is strong for Kenny inside.
The Red Foxes with the basketball, down 2. Chelobon to Larrigan. Kenny, we've got a whistle and a blocking foul against Faison, who came over and didn't give him room to land.
Exactly, Doug. Faison came from the weak side. Kenny actually caught the ball, came down. Faison was right there and gets the bump foul. Watch how he comes down. Faison's there. Doesn't really let him come down. Good call by Gene Monchi. Chelobon on the bench now, with Marist now going with a 3-guard offense.
53-51. Siena with the basketball in the 2-point lead.
Don't be surprised now to see Marcus Faison try to post up Bo Larrigan.
Okay, we're recording that. I want you guys to call me.
Faison hits. Just under 3 minutes to go. The Saints are back up by 4.
Faison faked the post-up game and then used the screen and just nailed it. Nice rotations defensively by Siena. Nice job by the front line as well.
Fresh shot clock. Hatton fires it up. Freeney after it. Osinski bats it around. And Faison comes away with it for Siena. 2:20 left on the clock. Siena by 4. The winner gets St. Peter's tomorrow night for the MAAC title. Brandon Fields holds. Two minutes to go. Faison with the dribble. Shot clock down to 10. Faison lost the dribble. Now Melvin Freeney will look to penetrate. Foul against Marist. Vale commits it with 3 seconds up on the shot clock.
Well, they were trying to run that shot clock down, did a good job, and that really hurts when you play that long a period of time playing great defense. And look what happens here. Freeney shakes the defense. Vale comes to help out on Freeney, and then he bumps. He reaches. So that's 32 seconds of excellent defense.
When Freeney was not in a position to score.
And then you get lazy, and then you get careless, and you reach.
Stewart goes out.
And Dave McGarrity's on the sidelines pacing, and he knows it as well. That would have been an important stop with a $1:49 on the clock.
Freeney's an 80% foul shooter, senior co-captain for Paul Hewitt's club. Freeney was the co-team MVP last year along with Marcus Faison. 1 out of 2. It's a 5-point Siena lead with a $1:48 to go. Larrigan, Hatton, and Kennedy in the backcourt. Larrigan strong to the hole, and he puts it in. We've not seen him penetrate like that all game. 5 for Bo Larrigan, 56-53.
He's deceivingly quick. He's got a great hesitation move. He did a nice job using the left hand. Went up the wrong foot, but still able to finish.
Former Providence Friar. Played a couple of years in the Big East. Again, working the shot clock down. Faison into the paint. Puts it up. Faison gets it back. Blocked by Kenny. Siena pulls it out. Freeney attacks. Blocked away by Hatton. Faison picks it up. 1 minute to go. And now Michael Kitts, the official, comes in and says, let's talk about the shot clock, when it should have been reset.
Well, there's 26 seconds on the shot clock right now. And I think that's the big question mark. The shot went up, it didn't hit the rim. And I think Paul Hewitt right now is questioning exactly how much time should be on the clock.
Little levity for Coach McGarity.
What a great block, though, by Bobby Joe Hatton coming from nowhere. Just a tremendous block. Kenny with the first one, scrambling for the loose ball. Look at Sean Kennedy. He's all over the place. Bobby Joe comes back, and he just times it perfectly. A little SWAT block that time. I thought Kennedy was going to pick up that loose ball. And then all of a sudden, everything kind of stops, and Paul Hewitt jumps out to question the shot clock.
Right now we've got the officials over here talking with Glenn to try and figure out. All right, we're going to try and show them what we have. We don't have the shot clock. Just want to see the play. Meanwhile, while the officials are waiting for the replay, the crowd getting pumped up. We're just under a minute remaining, and here's the play once again. You watch while the officials watch with us. The first shot from Faison hit the rim, so the reset of the shot clock was appropriate. The next two were block shots, but it looks like the 26 on the shot clock would be about right. So it looks like the shot clock operator had it correct. And let's see, they will leave it at 26. Siena 56, Marist 53. Faison, Freeney, Osinski, Canamesa, and Knapp. Shot clock down to 12.
Great defense by Marist. Look how high the defense brought. Freeney had it just over-penetrated. What looked like it went right off Osinski on the over-penetration. I thought he just sort of pulled it up. He had a little easy 7-foot shot.
That's what Osinski said to Freeney.
Just didn't look at the basket.
Just pull up. Paul Hewitt's club holding on to a 3-point lead.
Great defense by Marist, and Freeney saw the seam. Kenny with some good weak side defense, but from that angle, he really did have an open look at the basket.
Timeout called by the Red Foxes. 22nd timeout called with 30 1/10 seconds remaining here in Buffalo.
Boy, Doug, this really does seem like deja vu from last night, with the exception of the technical foul. That really changed the momentum when Marist beat Iona last night in the quarterfinals, but now Marist with a chance. And usually what they do in these game situations is they usually let Hatton penetrate, and Bo Larrigan will stand right outside the three-point line coming off of screens. But one of the big options this game inside has been Thomas Kenny.
Indeed it is. We'll see how the Red Foxes attack it coming out of the timeout. We've got a quick look at the Citizens Communications long-distance shooter standings. Jermaine Clark, the freshman from Fairfield, wins it this year. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC, once again the proud sponsor of the MAAC long-distance shooter of the year. Bobby Joe Hatton, Sean Kennedy, Bo Larrigan, Tomas Chelobach, and Tom Kenny on the floor for the Red Foxes. They're down 3 and can hold for a final shot if they so choose to try and tie it. Hatton to Larrigan, a deep 3. The tip no, Chelobach gets it and pulls it out. Keep in mind, last night it was Larrigan who hit the big 3 against Iona. Timeout called before the shot was taken. And if that had gone in, Dave McGarity would have said, what have I done? But since it was short, McGarity feels good with 8.1 to go. He'll set up another play. We'll come back and show you the finish on the MAAC Television Network. Back in Buffalo, where Marist has just used its final timeout, so the Red Foxes desperate. They'll have to get the ball in and then get off a three-point shot to try and force overtime, Glenn.
And Siena has one full timeout left. Marist has none. 8 seconds on the clock. What a big offensive rebound by Thomas Chelobach. I got to believe Bobby Joe is going to be the go-to guy with 8 seconds left. He's one of the few guys on this team that can break you down off the dribble.
Ready for action. 8 1/10 seconds to go. Bobby Joe Hatton guarded by Freeney. The Red Foxes need 3 to force overtime. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. Chelobach for the slam, but they didn't need it. The Saints hold on to win by a point. Siena goes on to the MAAC Finals for the second straight year. They'll take on St. Peter's for the championship tomorrow night.
Siena just totally shut down the three-point game. And Chelobach, mental mistake that time by Bobby Joe. Chelobach also aggressive at the rim. No need, Doug, to just attack the rim as they did. They were trying to get into their little weave around the outside the three-point line, which would have tied it up. But credit Siena, smart defense, taking away that three-point shot and giving up the 2. Bo Larrigan's wide open on this play. Good hedge that time by Osinski. And right here is where Hatton should have just tossed it up. Larrigan's wide open on the left side of the floor. Instead, he just went right to the basket. Just a mental mistake by Bobby Joe.
Left himself very few options picking up that dribble 24 feet from the basket.
See, what he should have done with the ball when there was no one open on the weak side is just go at the defense with the dribble and just pull up from 3.
We'll take a break and come back to the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, where Siena has just held off Marist by a point. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. Back at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, our finals are set on the men's side. Siena has advanced by holding off the Marist Red Foxes. Siena will take on St. Peter's tomorrow night for the championship of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Doug Sherman, Glenn Consor, Howard Simon back in Buffalo with you, and a thrilling finish. We had the sense the entire way that it was going to be Marist making a run. They did it last night against Iona. They did it today against Siena. Just didn't quite get over the hump.
You got to give Marist a lot of credit for hanging in the game. They did it with defense. They did a great job of playing good perimeter defense. Took Siena really out of their offense. Siena's a team that likes to play in the 90s. Here we are sitting in the 50s. Marist hung around nicely, but just made that last mental mistake. I thought Bobby Joe Hatton should have went at him with the dribble and just jacked it up from 3.
Okay, standing in a huge crowd of Siena fans over there. Let's send it over to Howard Simon standing by.
Yeah, we are deep in this set of fans here. That's right. Paul Hewitt said, you got to be quiet. I'll tell you when to cheer. So they're whispering, let's go Saints. Marcus Faison and Paul Hewitt are here. And Marcus, just talk a little bit about your game. I know you weren't happy the way things went personally last night. You seemed to come out and really spark at the start of this game.
Yeah, it was, this is game 2, and we saw that, Niagara came out and got upset, and we know we had to take care of things ourselves. And I took it upon myself to come out and play aggressive in the first half.
Even though it wasn't your style, you wanted a higher pace game. Talk about the defense, the way you guys maintained your composure when Marist was making their run.
We have a great senior point guard in Melvin Freeney, and Coach been saying all year that when he's in the game, he has a way of, just keeping the team together and settling us down and doing what the things that we have to do to win the game, and that's what he did tonight.
All right, Marcus Faison, congratulations.
Right,
Paul Hewitt is here as well. We'll get a quick question for Paul, and we'll let you get going. Just talk a little bit about the tempo. It wasn't yours, and just talk about what your team accomplished by beating Marist in a low-scoring game.
It's something we talked about for the last couple of days. The last 3 days coming into the tournament, we said we can't depend on our offense or making threes to take us through 3 games. We've got to play tough, hard-nosed defense, and I think you saw now for a second night that we can play some pretty good defense. And the guy to your left, I talked to him before the game. I said, I just got one thing. Make sure you take 12 shots. I was disappointed that he wasn't aggressive offensively, and he came out, looked for his shot, set the tone.
Good luck in the title game.
Thank you.
Paul Hewitt joining us from Siena. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Howard. As we take a look at our Pepsi player of the game, Marcus Faison. He finished up with 19 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double for the junior out of El Paso, Texas, and he leads the Saints into the MAAC title game against the Peacocks of St. Peter's tomorrow. And what do you know? Slam of the game, Marcus Faison in transition. Our Pepsi slam of the game. And a big game for Marcus Faison all the way around, and he needs to be aggressive like that again tomorrow night.
Well, he certainly does. They're going to run into a little bit of a buzzsaw. St. Peter's playing with tremendous emotion and passion right now. It's going to be a great game tomorrow night.
Okay, that'll do it from Buffalo for our entire crew here for our MAAC men's semifinals. We've got our final set on the men's side. Siena will take on St. Peter's tomorrow night. The Saints hold off the Red Foxes today. For Glenn Consor and the entire crew, this is Doug Sherman saying, so long, everybody.